Modern Star Trek's 10 Greatest Classic Era Easter Eggs. Since Star Trek returned to television in 2017, the franchise has embraced a delicate balancing act, pushing the boundaries of storytelling while paying homage to its rich history. For longtime fans, the most rewarding moments often come in the form of Easter eggs, small nods, visual callbacks, or subtle dialogue references to the classic era roughly defined as the original series, the animated series, and the first 6 films. The best modern Trek Easter eggs don't just wink at the audience. They enrich the universe, reward attentive viewers, and sometimes even reframe old stories. Here are 10 of the greatest callbacks that have kept the legacy of the classic era alive in the streaming age. 1. The Enterprise's retro beeping helm Discovery. Brother. In the Star Trek Discovery Season 2 premiere, the USS Enterprise finally makes her much-anticipated debut. While her exterior is more sleek and modern than the 1960s model, sharp-eared fans notice something instantly familiar: the sound design. The bridge scenes incorporated the exact retro sensor beeps and background computer chirps from the original series. This tiny audio detail bridged a half-century of technological evolution in the real world, telling fans, this is still Pike's Enterprise, no matter how modern the camera work looks. It was the first sign that Discovery's second season would lean into classic-era nostalgia in a big way. 2. Harry Mudd's interdimensional mayhem Discovery. Magic to make the sanest man go mad. Harcourt Fenton Mudd, the charming rogue and occasional menace from TOS, made a flamboyant return in Discovery. Rainn Wilson's take on Mudd was a chaotic blend of humor and menace, but the episode's title and time loop premise were themselves nods to the original Mudd episodes, Mudd's Women, and I, Mudd. Even Mudd's scheme, involving elaborate deception and over-the-top theatrics, felt like it had been lifted right from the 1960s playbook. It was a reminder that Trek villains didn't always need to be galaxy-destroying threats. Sometimes they just needed to be gloriously petty. 3. The Gorn reimagined, Strange New Worlds, Memento Mori, and Beyond. The Gorn are infamous for their somewhat awkward brawl with Captain Kirk in TOS's Arena, a fight scene that has become both meme and myth in Trek culture. Strange New Worlds took that legacy and turned it into something far more terrifying. By portraying the Gorn as a hidden, predatory menace that hunts humans with chilling precision, the series paid respect to their place in Trek lore while upgrading them into a legitimate sci-fi horror threat. And yet, the writers cleverly never showed an adult Gorn directly, preserving continuity with Kirk's first contact decades later. 4. The balance of terror Echo, Strange New Worlds, a quality of mercy. In one of Strange New Worlds' most audacious moves, its Season 1 finale directly recreated much of TOS's balance of terror, right down to camera angles and line delivery. But instead of Captain Kirk, it was Captain Pike facing the Romulans, offering a poignant what-if scenario. The episode wasn't just fan service. It was a meditation on fate, leadership, and sacrifice, showing why Kirk was the one meant to take command during the events of the original. It elevated the original story by framing it through Pike's doomed perspective. 5. The Return of the Vulcan Harp, Picard, Season 1. In the 1960s, Spock's Vulcan lyre was a small but charming glimpse into Vulcan culture, appearing in episodes like Charlie X and The Way to Eden. In Picard's first season, the harp made a surprise reappearance in the background of a Starfleet officer's quarters. It was never directly mentioned, but for sharp-eyed fans, it was a perfect example of Trek's visual continuity, a reminder that some cultural traditions, like Vulcan music, persist through centuries. 6. I have been and always shall be your friend, Discovery, through the Valley of Shadows. Few Trek quotes are as iconic as Spock's farewell to Kirk in The Wrath of Khan. Discovery gave that line a subtle twist when Captain Pike, speaking to Spock, offers a variation that reverses the order but keeps the sentiment intact. It worked on 2 levels, as a heartfelt moment between these 2 men whose friendship is just beginning, and as a foreshadowing of Spock's future bond with Kirk. It's the kind of layered writing that makes Easter eggs more than just references, they become thematic glue. 7. Uhura's linguistic genius spotlighted, Strange New Worlds, multiple episodes. In the original series, Lieutenant Uhura's skills in linguistics and communications were acknowledged but rarely explored in depth. Strange New Worlds has turned her into a fully realized character whose talents often save the day, from deciphering alien languages to repairing comms under fire. One standout moment came in Children of the Comet, where Uhura's song became the key to unlocking an alien puzzle. It was a subtle nod to Nichelle Nichols' occasional singing on TOS, now reimagined as a vital skill in first-contact situations. 8. The Genesis Device Schematic, Picard, Season 3. When Picard's third season took viewers inside Daystrom Station, the camera briefly panned over a display labeled Genesis Device. Fans of The Wrath of Khan instantly recognized the controversial terraforming superweapon that sparked one of Trek's most personal vendettas. The device's inclusion was pure visual fan candy, but it also quietly suggested that Starfleet's archives and temptations run deep. It was a reminder that some technologies are too dangerous to be forgotten even centuries later. 9. The animated series gets canon love, Lower Decks, multiple references. For decades, the animated series TAS was treated as semi-canonical at best. Modern Trek has fully embraced it, particularly through Lower Decks. From name-dropping Robert April's animated uniform to resurrecting the giant Spock clone from the Infinite Vulcan, the show gleefully pulls from TAS as if it were TOS's fourth season. This commitment has elevated TAS from curiosity to an essential part of the classic era, validating the stories and aesthetics that 1970s animation brought to Trek. 10. James T. Kirk's cameo, Strange New Worlds, A Quality of Mercy. Bringing in a young James T. Kirk was always going to be risky. Fans have strong feelings about the captain who started it all. But Paul Wesley's portrayal avoided imitation, instead offering a fresh take that hinted at the charisma and tactical instincts Kirk would later become famous for. The key Easter egg wasn't just Kirk himself. It was seeing him in an alternate timeline command scenario that tested Pike's approach against his. This wasn't just fan casting, it was character archaeology, digging into the traits that would define Kirk long before TOS. Why these Easter eggs matter. Modern Star Trek could have easily ignored its past, leaning entirely into sleek technology and serialized drama. But the franchise thrives when it acknowledges its roots, not just as nostalgia bait, but as a living foundation for its stories. Each of these classic-era callbacks works because it serves both old fans and new viewers. For those who know the history, there are little sparks of recognition. For newcomers, there's simply good storytelling, the kind that feels richer without requiring a homework assignment. And that's the true magic of the best Star Trek Easter eggs. They're not just about seeing something familiar. They're about feeling the connection between the bold new adventures and the voyages that began nearly 60 years ago when a starship first leapt into warp and a captain first said, "Engage." If you want, I can also prepare a bonus,